All right, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. Okay, so let's talk about this video that I think is a good video for us to really review and have a good conversation about. It's about this toxic white male, British white male, who is virtual signaling to all his white buddies that Africans are in his country, invading his country. He's so worried about immigration in his country. And so he is sending out a PSA to all the white folks, right? Again, like I said, it's virtual signaling, talking about Africans in their country, Africans trying to replace them. You need to do something about this. This is crazy. They want to take us out, all of that stuff, right? And I think this is a great video for us to discuss because it's going to be an educational video for racist white males like this guy and many who think like him, who seem to forget, or they think that we should forget, that their country, the one he comes from, have been invading Africa and African countries for centuries. For centuries. They've gotten wealthy at the backs of Africans, either with free labor, through slavery, wealth, and resources stolen from Africa, through colonialism. The country that he comes from, England, is the worst on earth when it comes to all the atrocities that Africa has had to endure and still enduring today. And these types of racist, toxic white male have the audacity to now complain about immigration in their country after you then left these places desolate, left them looted, left them destroyed, that these ones are now in your country, tapping the resources that you wouldn't let them be in their country. So we're going to have a good conversation. Take a listen to this, and I'll be right back.
So, an overbearing group of intimidating Nigerians that were being taught a lot of anti-white rhetoric at the local sports hall. These Nigerians that have been come there that say that they were being taught that when you come to any country, doesn't matter where it is, you put your Nigerians first, you put all your group first before anything else. And they were teaching them lots of other stuff, which was quite threatening and very anti-white, very anti-British. And it was all about, because they've stopped them, one worker comes and then brings loads of their family with them. What they were trying to do was work out more and more ways of how to get more and more of their Nigerians from over there into jobs over here. And they were doing courses about this and how this could happen. The thing is, they just want to make sure that every part of our country is flooded with people who don't look like us and don't act like us, and certainly don't want to assimilate. I mean, I made it quite clear. The attitude that they gave to white people there was a very, very threatening one. But these people had no intention. And you could see it in their body language. You could see it the way they portrayed themselves. You could see it in their rhetoric, what they were saying. So this is what you've got to come. The truth of the matter is that if you haven't experienced diversity as our strength, which is the biggest load of crap I've ever heard, if you haven't heard that or felt it yet, you're going to. Into the tiniest recesses of the country, they intend to flood us. Basically, they're going to outbreed us. But the facts are this. If you haven't done anything yet, if you haven't thought about the future, if you think, I'm all right, Jack, you're not. None of you are. It'll come for you, all right? And you'll have them live next door to you. They'll have them because they will put them in every part of the community. It doesn't matter what the rent is, okay? Don't think that because we live in an expensive area, we won't get them. You will. And the taxpayer will be funding them. So think about that. You might actually want to think about getting off your ass and doing stuff that's more proactive than just sitting there thinking, well, I'm all right, I'll be dead by the time this actually gets anywhere near this. It's ramping up. It's happening so quick that it will be in your locality within the next 10 years. 10 years time, when you're older and more informed, and these people are all around you, right, and they're running your neighborhood, you won't be able to do anything then. So there you go.
Okay, so let's talk about this, because there's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to really have a good conversation around this, because these are the types of people who have caused mayhem and continue to cause mayhem in the world today, and have the audacity to complain that their lifestyle in their country is becoming very, very uncomfortable because they have all these Africans in their country. If you don't want Africans in your country, let me help him understand this. And this is all to all these white people who think like this. If you don't want Africans in your country, you need to get the hell out of Africa. If you don't want them Nigerians, because everyone seems to think that every African in their country has to come from Nigeria. Nigeria is not a continent, right? Not every African person you see in your country is a Nigerian. Everybody always easily points to Nigerian and blame Nigerians for everything. But that's besides the point, right? If you don't want them Nigerians or the Ugandians or Ghanaians or Kenyans or any African in your country, you need to get the hell out of their country. Because his country, England, is the worst invader as it relates to attacking and going to other countries to steal from their country, to meddle in their country, to loot their country, right? For centuries. He's complaining about immigration, right? People coming to their country over the last, decade or 2 decades? Big deal. We have been complaining about you in our countries for hundreds of years. Africans have had to deal with these types of people in their country, and they're doing it today. Still there. Invading, meddling, destroying, looting, right? Stealing their resources so that way people like this guy can come online. And virtual signal, right? So that way people like him can live in nice posh houses with his family members, take vacations at the backs of Africans. It wasn't Africans that went and colonized Europe. It was Europe that colonized Africans. See, Africans were in their own country. They were on their own continent, chilling. They never took ships to Europe to go colonize them. They never took ships to Europe to go and enslave their people. They never took ships or planes or had any policies in Europe as well in the West to steal their minerals. They never, still to today, have military bases in these countries that they're using as a way to steal resources for that country, right? So that way their people can benefit. It wasn't Africans that did this. These are white Europeans and people from the West. And they have the audacity today to complain that Africans are in your country. Let me help you understand this. Africans, whether they're Nigerians, whether they're Ghanaians, whether they're Somalians, whether they're from Uganda, whatever part of Africa, they have earned the God-given right to be in your country because you won't leave us alone. You've stolen and you continue to steal in our country. Your government, you and your government, are the biggest thieves in Africa, stealing resources today so that way you can survive. Huh? So that way you can live in nice luxury estates, drive fancy cars, right? Have clean roads. All of these are made possible and sponsored and paid for by Africans. If you don't want Africans in your country, get the hell out of Africa. I guarantee you, Africans will love you for it. I guarantee you, Africans will love you for it. The moment white folks like you, like you're saying, get up your butt and do something about it. We need you to do something about it, right? What we need from you is to tell your government, right? Go in and tell your legislative body today, we need you to get out of Africa. Leave them Africans alone. We've stolen from them too long. We've stolen from them long enough. We've destroyed their land long enough. We need to leave them alone so they can thrive. I guarantee you, you do that today, Africans will gladly leave your disgusting country alone. Because you don't get to do and destroy other people's livelihood, bring poverty into their land, cause chaos with their government, corrupt their government, steal their minerals with your corporation. Do all of that so that way you can be fat in your country, wealthy, live in affluence, right? Propose to your women at the backs of the minerals you get, our diamonds and our gold, so that way they can think that you're the best man on earth. You don't get to do all of that and then spit in our faces, when you've left us desolate, left our men, women, and children in diseases, looted all our stuff, and now we're in those countries to tap our resources, you don't get to tell us that we don't have the right to be there. Every African has earned the right to be in every one of these countries. If you don't like it, go tell your government to leave our countries alone. This goes for France. See, France today and England and many of these countries will be third world countries if it went for Africans' labor, Africans' resources, Africa's wealth that has built your country. If you were that superior on earth, you would stay in your region and not meddle in other places. See, here's the part they don't want us to talk about. They keep talking about how the white person is so God's gifts to earth. They keep elevating themselves and talk about how white people are the ones that built the whole world and all of that. If you were that sophisticated and that's unique and that blessing on earth like you like to portray, you would stay in your territory, right? You wouldn't have had any reason to go to Africa in the 1700s to go and steal our people as slaves to go and build your country. You would have gotten it out of the mud in your country. You would have figured it out in your country. And on top of all our men, women, and children that you stole from our continent so they can build your country through slavery, right? That wasn't enough for you, right? You still went back there in the 1800s and colonized those countries. You still went back over there and colonized our countries and left us as slaves in our countries, stealing our resources. And today you have the audacity to want to tell us and lecture us about immigration. I don't think so. I don't think so. I pray and I hope that every African, every Latin American, everyone from every part of the country, that England, France, and many other countries who have destroyed and meddled in their countries to devastate their government, to leave them poor, I hope that those people come to your country. I hope they keep flooding those countries. Yeah. If you don't like it, tell your government to get out of their country. Tell your government to leave those countries alone. And let's see how long your country lasts. But what you don't get to do is destroy countries and leave them waste. Leave them penniless. Leave them in poverty and then complain when they're in your country. Right? So another virtue signal you heard him say, because again, he's the kind of person that wants to, because these things sound good to his white buddies. Oh, they're threatening white lives. No African hire is threatening white people. Them Nigerians are only keeping to themselves. They don't want to assimilate with us. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine a white person who goes to other countries, right? Parse out lands and areas for themselves, the best part for themselves in other people's country. They don't assimilate or they don't even try to involve themselves or meddle or get to know the locals. They stay in the nice areas. Can you imagine a white person who is known to do this? Say that Africans are out here only hanging out with themselves. So the moment we love ourselves, the moment we look out for ourselves, the moment we're saying we're trying to build our identity, it's a problem for the types of this type. It's a problem for these types. You've got a white-only community in South Africa. Black South Africans are not allowed to go there. And the types of this guy is talking about black people don't want to assimilate with the rest of them. When they were in Nigeria, and they're still in Nigeria today, you go to like best parts of Nigeria, you have white people there, right? They don't hang around with Nigerians. They just stay by themselves. When they were in Nigeria, colonizing Nigeria, they stayed in the hills of Nigeria. The best areas is where they parsed out for themselves. Africans and Nigerians were not allowed to go there. And you have the type of this guy have the audacity to come and tell us again that we don't want to assimilate, that we only stay with our own. And we don't want to hang out with white people. You see, this is a very virtue signaling. It talks about Nigerians are threatening or Africans are threatening white people. Again, virtue signaling. He's trying to get white folks to take up arms. You think we're afraid? Hold on a second. You think we're afraid. There's nothing. Let me help him understand this. There's nothing white folks can do to black people today that hasn't already been done. There's nothing. There's no black person on earth today that fears a white person's retaliation. There's no thing that you've done against us that you haven't already done. The person that should be afraid is you. Because what you're afraid of is your sins coming back to haunt you now. That's what you're afraid of. So you find racist white folks like this that will say things like, oh my God, they're trying to replace us. You find the replacement theory floating around all over the place. Oh my God. They've been doing this from generations back. White folks have killed people, right? You had a white maniac in Germany that extinct and killed a lot of Jews. Genocide, because he was afraid that Jews were going to pollute the white race. A maniac in Germany. You are white folks, right, who would tell people don't get married. They had laws in this country, in the United States, against intermarriage, because white folks were always afraid of mingling their races with us. You have white folks that are walking around with torches and talking about Jews will not replace us. No person, no black person will replace us. They've always had this insanity and this delusion that someone is trying to replace them. People are just trying to live their lives. People are trying to mind their business, go to work, feed their family. No one cares about replacing white people. But when you have an insane person who has destroyed the world, caused problems in the world, they're afraid that their sins are coming back to haunt them. Yeah. One person once said it, the chicken has now come back home to roost. The good book says a wicked person runneth when no one pursueth him. So you have white folks like this who come up with replacement theories and all of that. Oh, they're trying to replace us so they can galvanize all these other racist white folks so they can cause hurt and harm on people, innocent people. No one cares. No one cares. But what we're not going to do is sit by idle, right? And let you deny people livelihood, deny people the right to live and exist, to be human beings, so that way you can exist with your family, live with your family, fund your family, enjoy, build wealth at the backs of other people, and then deny a whole country, a whole continent, a whole people, the right for them to also survive or tap into that. That is what you call an evil person. So Africans have earned the rights to be in these countries. Every African that wants to migrate to any one of this country, I say do it. I say if you want to migrate to any one of these countries, I say you've earned the right to do it. If they don't like it, tell them to get out of your country first. Get out of their country. Leave their countries alone. Get your military out. Get your government out. Get your corporations out. Get everything about you out and stay in your own corner. Right? I mean, Jesus Christ. How hard is that? How hard is it really for you to stay in your own corner? Africa did it. Africa didn't bother nobody. Africa was on his own, chilling. Right? The same continent they say is the poorest continent. Yes, they were self-sufficient. Even after they had ruled for thousands of years and they lost the empire, even with all of that, when Europeans and Europeans gained power in the world, Africans did not still leave their territory. They were all good in their territory. The same European and strong white people, like they like to claim, could not maintain it in their own region. They had to go and invade everybody else. They had to go and loot everybody else. And they're still doing it today. Right? So anyway, I'm going to say this and I'm going to close. rhetoric like this are not new. They're going to continue. But I think Africans and every black person today should educate themselves and understand that the reason why your country and the way our countries are the way they are is because of these white folks. It's because of that. The reason why our continent is the way is because of them. And you have these types of old white racist people who have caused problems. England is the worst. British people are the worst. They're the worst. The level of damage they've caused to the world is one that I would tell guys like him to shut the hell up. Right? Shut the hell up. Next time you see an African in your country, right, you should thank that African, because it's because of his country or her country that you're able to succeed in your country, and your country is supposed to is the way it is. It's because of his country and her country, right? And that goes for France. That goes for every country. When you see an African in your country, is the reason why they're there. You should thank them, because their country is what's giving you energy, electricity, fixing your road, giving your country your wealth in terms of our diamond and our gold, our resources, fueling your cars in terms of our petrol, oil. You don't get to disrespect us any longer and tell us to go back to our country. Who the hell are you? I'll leave and go back to my country when you get the hell out of my country. Until then, shut the hell up. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please like the video, share the content, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time.
Nu vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunna ge förut. Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för det, baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger av min tid, jag vill ha det. Du får mig känna safety. Jag kan nog leda